But, it's just, this government seems to have, especially Starmer, he has no political intuition. He doesn't have his finger on the pulse of this country. He either is ignoring what people are saying or he's just not understanding it. So why is he sanctioning it? Why is he letting it happen? Some of these kids' lives will be altered forever. Everyone who knows this guy says, he didn't drink, he didn't do drugs, he didn't smoke, that he was just a regular guy. Now, I want to know what happened.
Hello and welcome to the Daily Expresso. I'm back. I took a few days off to visit family in New York, but I'm thrilled to be here with all of you wonderful viewers. And you, Carole.
We didn't miss you at all.
Did you not? Not even a tad?
In fact, your lovely replacement was just way slicker than you. But anyway.
I saw you read out my question, my letter that I left for you.
Well, I didn't have a choice. I thought on the off chance there might be something nice in it. It was just more insults.
Well, you'll be pleased to know I've got another one. This is from a real viewer. This is not me this time. This is a real person.
What? And is he or she as rude as you are?
No, I think maybe they need their head tested.
Oh,
they're
okay. They're
positive
saying
things about you.
Oh, go on then.
Dear Sir, always call me Sir. I like that. I write in praise of your excellent show and excellent newspaper. This is really interesting. I particularly like Carole Malone and agree with everything she writes. With a total of 80 pages in your weekly newspaper, this is truly amazing. He must mean the Sunday Express.
No, he does not.
Long may it continue. Yours sincerely, Alan W. Jenkins. Thank you, Alan.
Thank you, Alan.
Yeah.
Yes, Merry Christmas, Alan.
Yeah, well,
Big time.
see, you've got one fan.
Had you bought him a present before you wrote the letter, or did you buy him one after?
It was hard to find a good one. We get so many messages from people about you.
Well, I get a lot of nice ones.
Sack her,
No,
get
you
rid of
don't. No,
her.
you don't, because they get
Oh,
sent
she's
to me,
rubbish.
and I've seen it, and they're very nice. I bet you don't get half as many.
No one writes to me ever.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there's a reason for that.
Well, let's start the show. Let's start with the very last and fiery PMQs of 2025, and what a show we had. Kemi Badenoch obliterated Starmer, and she reminded everyone that it is the Prime Minister's second Christmas in Downing Street, and by his own admission, he's not in control. And of course, it wouldn't be a PMQs, at least not a good one, without Nigel Farage causing some heat. The Reform leader staged another protest as he refused to sit down, and he claimed that PMQs is actually rigged. Carole, has Nigel got a point? Is it rigged?
Well, they never give him the chance to talk. Whenever he has a question, they either ignore his question or he gets shouted down. They make so much noise in that. Now, that just tells me that not only some of the idiots in the House are, they behave like animals. However, what it also tells me is they're terrified of him. They're terrified of him saying something that resonates with people. And most of what Labour is saying doesn't resonate with anybody, and not much from the Tories either. But Farage is I think he's very quickly becoming the voice of this country. And I don't have any doubt that he's going to get elected, and I do kind of hope the Tories and Reform go in together. I really do, and that we finally get a Prime Minister who's listening to people. Because Kemi's right. This is his second Christmas in Downing Street. I'm thinking, what are we going to feel like this time next year after another year of this catastrophic, blundering, hopeless government? Are we going to be broke? I keep on trying to think there must be a way that we can get them out before the full term. Now there has to be a way that maybe if we get to the point where we are going to go bankrupt, maybe then they can call an election. They'd have to throw in the towel. But I don't see how we can take another year of this. I don't see how we can take any more tax rises.
Well, inflation has fallen.
So that's, to what?
3.2%.
Yeah, well, it was something like 2% when Labour took over. So that doesn't mean anything.
But it's going in the right direction.
It's not going in the right direction. It needs to be plummeting, and it's not plummeting. But it's just this government seems to have, especially Starmer, he has no political intuition. He doesn't have his finger on the pulse of this country. He either is ignoring what people are saying or he's just not understanding it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he wouldn't come out with some of the stupid things he says. And I just think he's not very good at this job. And we keep on hearing talk that Andy Burnham is going to get the top job. Well, he had 2 shots at it. And the reason he didn't get it was because he was boring and he didn't connect with people. Sound familiar? He's exactly like Starmer, only he hasn't made the cock-ups yet. But give him time and he will, because he is not a leader. Andy Burnham is not a leader. He only looks vaguely good next to Starmer, who, It's hard to describe without swearing.
Well, Kemi also challenged Starmer's record, saying that he promised growth and all he's delivered is broken promises.
Well,
she's not wrong, is she?
Well, she's absolutely not wrong, you know.
Yeah.
And even in the budget, we were going to try and be fobbed off with growth that had gone up, but it was made clear to us very soon after that was not the case. You know, Reeves talks about growth all the time. That was her mantra before she got into power. And it's just not happening. You know, and in the meantime, she's destroying businesses. Unemployment has rocketed. We've got a £3 trillion debt, and nothing. The only people who are benefiting here are the people on Benefit Street, or the people who aren't working, and that's millions. And a story today about the BBC could be free to people on Benefit Street. I mean, seriously, something else for free? God.
Well, I think looking ahead actually at next year, I think we might see a change with the BBC. I think they might be forced to go to a subscription model because so few people now want to pay their TV license, and there's no. I mean, they can knock on your door and be like, well, let me see if you've got a TV. People don't let them in.
No, I wouldn't let them in. And the other thing that we're talking about the other day, the BBC, was they might want to do some adverts. Well, you can't have it both ways.
Yeah.
You can't be paid for by the taxpayers. You get 4 or 5 billion quid a year from license payers, and on the other hand, make money from advertising. Do one or the other. Do what all the independent channels do. Stand on your own 2 feet. Make your own money. Say what you like. Be as biased as you like, and then people have a choice. But this way, they get the license fee money. They're the state broadcaster. And they make money from adverts. No, not in a million years. It must never happen.
If Reform and the Tories do end up doing a coalition, who's going to be Prime Minister and who's Deputy Prime Minister? Because I can't see Nigel playing second fiddle to anyone.
No, he won't. And nor should he. Because Nigel, whatever you think about him, whether you agree with his politics or not, he's a communicator. He's probably the best political communicator of the past 50 years.
Tony Blair was the best of the past 50 years, but Nigel's coming very close second.
Tony Blair, people were listening for one term. Okay, but you're right. Nigel hasn't had a term yet, but you're right. Blair was a good communicator.
Can we get that clipped up, please? Carol saying that I am right.
No, Tony Blair.
Merry Christmas to me.
Blair was, and I mean, I was mesmerised by him in his first term. I was, but I've watched Farage operate. I watched him talk to rich people, middle class people, and people on council estates. I've watched him go onto council estates where guys come to the door in a vest with a fag in their mouth and a can of beer, and Farage and them they get on famously. Yeah. Although he's a posh bloke, they love him, and I don't see that in any politician that we have currently. Certainly not Kemi. I think she's been really good of late. I think she's been stronger, but she's quite wooden, and I don't think she's good with people generally. I can't see her going on a council estate and scoring hits. I can't do it. But Farage can, and he understands. He's tuned in to what affects people, what matters to them, what upsets them, what is going to make their lives better, in a way that no other politician currently is.
Today, campaigners against puberty blocker trials for kids have led a march outside the Department for Health and Social Care in London. They're urging Health Secretary Wes Streeting to cancel the trial. A letter written by Canterbury MP Rosie Duffield and signed by many MPs across party lines has been delivered, begging Wes Streeting to not move forward with the dangerous mistake of trialling puberty blockers on kids. Carol, it seems a bit nuts that we are literally saying it's okay to experiment on children.
State-sponsored abuse of children, and in some cases state-sponsored, I can't even say the word, sterilisation of children. These kids, I think there's 256 have been asked to take part in the trial, some as young as 8. Now, you don't know what you want at 8 years old, and you sure as hell shouldn't be put on a drug that can make you sterile, can affect your bone density, can atrophy your sexual organs. The effects of these puberty blockers are that anyone who's listened to Keira Bell talk, and she had gone to the disgraced Tavistock Clinic when she was, I think, 15, and she was a young girl who wanted to become a young boy. And she took these puberty blockers. She had a double mastectomy. Her sexual organs are now what she describes as atrophied. She will forever have an altered voice. She has facial hair that she cannot get rid of, all because, and she says now, all it was is I was a mixed up kid who'd had some problems at home, and she said I had doubts about my sexuality, mean was she gay or straight? She said, and she said that's all it was. And she said no medic took her through that. She was just given the puberty blocker straight away. Now, I find this in a country that calls itself civilized, that you can experiment on kids in this way. 9,000 kids went through the doors of the Tavistock Clinic over a number of years. If they want data, there's acres of it right there. Talk to those 9,000 kids, find out what their experience is. Talk to people like Keira Bell and the big detransitioning movement that is now happening. Talk to all of those people and ask about their experiences. Do not take on 256 new kids and subject them to these puberty blockers, because you can't just take them off them. You have to keep them on them for a very long time, if not forever. So... But I just find it, the Cass report was really clear. And it said there was not enough evidence to support the use of these puberty blockers on gender questioning young people. And yet, here we have our National Health Service ploughing ahead with something that she said shouldn't be happening. And the weasel Wes Streeting has actually put out there that he has grave doubts about this. So why is he sanctioning it? Why is he letting it happen? Some of these kids' lives will be altered forever. And he is saying, well, I have my doubts about it, but on you go anyway. No, it shouldn't be happening.
I love the nickname, by the way, Weasel Wes.
He is.
That is fantastic.
He is a weasel. You can't say, I have grave doubts about this, and then say, well, off you go, just give them the money. It's just not on.
So is he doing this because he's scared of how the left are going to react if he intervenes?
Of course. The Labour and especially the hard left, they're enthralled to the trans brigade. And I don't understand how trans activists have managed to infiltrate almost every major institution in this country, to the point where, despite the Supreme Court ruling about biology, about biological men and women, the NHS are still insisting that people who declare themselves to be a woman, declare themselves to be whatever, are allowed on women's wards. This is not on now. I have actually said to people in the past that have come into the change rooms that I know, are trans women, I've asked them to leave because the law says now they have to. And all women should be emboldened by that. Yeah. Because that's what it was about. And you can't just say, oh, yeah, well, the Supreme Court said this, but we'll just ignore that. We're just going to carry on with our own little missives. And trans people should be allowed to live their best lives. Absolutely. Don't have any problems with that at all. But they should not be allowed to invade the safe spaces of women. It really is as simple as that. Yeah. But organisations like the NHS are ignoring that.
The fact that we've got so many politicians from different parties all agreeing that this is wrong, that should be the wake-up call that everyone on the left should be taking heed of.
Labour MPs, there was at the beginning of the week they were rebelling, but then now there's a cross-party group of MPs that are saying don't do it, and it makes sense. This is what happened in the Second World War. People were experimented on with drugs and concentration camps, but the difference here is that we're talking about children here, children who. There could be, I even read the other day that neurodivergent children and autistic children are being accepted on this trial. These are kids who can't express themselves, and yet they're being taken on this trial. And I just think it civilized countries don't do this to their children. They really don't. And we're doing it for why? Why are we doing it? Yeah. The Cass report banned puberty blockers until the age of 18. If someone still thinks they're in the wrong body at the age of 18, fine. Go and see whoever you have to see. Take the drugs, but not at 10, not at 8, not at 13. No.
Well, what I don't understand is if we had a 7-year-old girl who is anorexic, but she goes to the doctor and says, no, I'm actually really overweight. The doctor does not affirm her and say, no, actually, you're right, you are overweight.
Let's put you on Manjaro.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's a very good comparison, actually, because the people who do have that problem where they see a different body in the mirror, to them it's absolutely real, but
Yeah.
it's not real.
Yeah.
And you don't pump them full of drugs to make them feel better, and that's what the Tavistock did. It's why it was closed, for God's sake.
Yeah.
And now we're just carrying on what the Tavistock did.
Resident doctors have begun their 5-day strike, with patients being warned of disruption less than 10 days before Christmas. NHS bosses have said that many services will be impacted. And by the way, this is the 14th walkout by doctors over the long-running pay dispute with the government. The British Medical Association, the BMA, says resident doctors' pay will be 20% lower in real terms than 2008 if they accept the current pay rise offer. Health Secretary, on the other hand, has said the strike is unreasonable after doctors were given substantial pay rises in recent years. Carole, I've got to say, I supported the nurses. They had my heart. The doctors, I'm starting to lose patience with them.
And you're not alone. And the pendulum has swung now. And I think doctors, these young doctors now refuse to call them resident because they are actually junior doctors, which is why they're on lower pay than senior doctors. They are losing. Doctors used to be the most revered people in the country, not anymore, and that's thanks to their militant bunch of rabble-rousers that run the British Medical Association. Now, this strike to me is particularly abhorrent because striking at Christmas when you're in the midst of a crisis that has been described as the biggest catastrophe to hit the NHS since the pandemic. Striking in the middle of that is about as cynical and as cruel as it gets, because the people who are in hospital with flu currently are the elderly. In the majority. They're the people who are at the most risk of dying of this. And these young doctors are walking out on these people who are likely to die. And even the ones who survive aren't going to be able to get out of hospital over Christmas. They've condemned them to spending Christmas in hospital. Shame on them, absolutely. And they're greedy now. They're trying to pretend it's about the NHS, and it's trying to pretend it's about working conditions and about the fact that a lot of their jobs are being given to foreign doctors. It's tosh, because Wes Streeting put a deal to them last week to deal with all of that, and they turned it down. This is about money, pure and simple. And they've had a 28% pay rise in the last 3 years. And that tosh you just read out there about them saying to catch up on the money that they've lost years ago, that is rubbish, and they know it, because when that was calculated in 2008, it was calculated on the retail price index. Now the Office for Budget Responsibility has said that is not a reliable measure of inflation. Okay. And the OBR recalculated the money they're supposed to have lost since 2008. They recalculated on the consumer price index, which is the right one, and their calculation was 4.7% loss since 2008. So they have more than made up for that with this 28. So they keep on trotting out this lie all of the time, and they get picked up on it, and they keep on trotting it out, even though it was the way they measured inflation has been completely discredited. So I just, if they wanted money, why did they choose medicine? Why, if you're motivated by money, don't come into a job where people's lives are in the palm of your hands. Don't do it, because it's cynical and it's cruel and it's unprofessional. And I think the first few strikes, they probably had the public on their side. Not anymore. I just looked at some stuff recently where there's been about 3 or 4 big surveys and polls done this year. All of them say that they're losing public support. 5 out of 6 people terrified that they're going to be in a hospital corridor for days on end. People terrified that when they call the ambulance isn't going to get there on time. And this is the reality of our NHS now. It is broken. And these doctors pretend they care about the NHS, but these strikes are going to cost 500 million quid a day. So 5 days. How many doctors would that pay for? How many nurses would that money pay for? How much equipment would it pay for? They don't care. And anything that Streeting has saved in terms of waiting times, that's all going to be washed away now with these strikes, because the waiting lists are going to go rocketing. I was just listening, coming here today in the lift, there's a patient who was due to have an operation today. He was all prepped for it. He was ready to go. They said he's not having it. And you think that people get, they get worked up about operations. They get worried about them. And that's what these doctors who went into a profession to save lives, they took an oath to do no harm. And yet by walking out at this time, they are going to do harm. People will die.
Yeah. Do you know Dr. David Ball, chairman of Reform
Yes,
UK?
I do.
So I remember speaking to him about this the last time these people were striking, and he said the British Medical Association are to blame. He said, as you described them, he said they are like the mafia.
They are.
And they are controlling everything. And if we can get rid of them, things would be a lot easier.
Doctors have got to do that because, their reputations are trashed now, thanks to this militant union. This union doesn't give a stuff about patients. They're a bunch of militants who actually just hate the establishment. So they hated the Tories and now they hate Labour. They'll hate any government that's in power. And all they're doing is exercising their muscles here. And in doing that, people are suffering. And doctors who have, if these doctors want to carry on in this profession, they really need to dump this load of people. They really need to get, I'm a great believer in unions. I think people who are hard done by should have a union at their back and someone to fight for them. But this is nonsense. They've had 29% in the last 3 years. They're asking for another 26. That's what they want, which is ridiculous. They know it's impossible. Yeah. And they keep on saying, we don't want to strike. Well, don't strike. Go and do your job. And just third year junior doctors are on 60 grand a year. It's not bad money.
Yeah.
It's really not bad.
But when will enough be enough? We can't
It'll
stop
never
them.
be enough.
We can't stop them from striking. No. My worry is we give them what they asked for, and in 2 years they're back again saying, well, actually, we want another couple of grand here.
That's exactly what Labour did. They gave them exactly what they asked for. The minute they got into power, streeting, believing that if you stuffed their pockets with gold, that they would actually do their job. But they're laughing at them because, like I say, the BMA doesn't care about people. They're just militants, and this is a way for them to exercise their militancy at the expense of people's lives.
Paul Doyle, the man who rammed his car into a crowd of Liverpool fans as they celebrated their club's Premier League win, has been jailed for 21 years and 6 months. Over 130 people were injured in the shocking incident, with victims ranging from a 6-month-old baby to a 77-year-old woman. Now, Doyle admitted to all 31 charges against him, including GBH and dangerous driving, but he claimed his anger had completely taken hold of him as he drove into people. Personally, Carole, I think he was in a weapon car, crowded area. Anger took over him. That's not an excuse, mate. 21 years and 6 months.
No, but
he'll be out after 10.
I don't know. I mean, I obviously took notice of the court case. But this guy, up until about the age of 28, he was in trouble. He was in the Marines. He got into trouble in the Marines. He got into fights in the Marines, who chucked him out because he was fighting. But when he got to 30 and he got married and had kids, everything changed. He became an ordinary dad. And he was a very devoted dad. He looked after the local scout troop. He was never in any bother after that. There was no. Everyone who knows this guy says, he didn't drink, he didn't do drugs, he didn't smoke. That he was just a regular guy. Now, I want to know what happened. Now, we're obsessed in this society of ours about mental health issues. I want to know if any tests were done on this guy to see what happened that day, because I don't know whether you saw where his car was. He drove into a street and this crowd was just like, everyone was on him. People were celebrating. He couldn't move. He says he saw someone coming towards him with a knife, and maybe he did. But the court's not buying that. I hear the list of injuries you read out. No one died. There were no, as far as I'm aware, life-changing injuries in the sense that people are, crippled, can't move again. People got hurt. People got scared, and everything. But I want to know if someone like a mass murderer like Valdo Calacane, who killed 3 people, can get an indefinite hospital order, why someone like this goes to prison for 21 years with no explanation as to why. Murderers don't get 21 years. Terrorists don't get 21 years. Paedophiles don't get 21 years. And all of those people, I think, actually deserve 21 years. But I want to know more about what prompted this, because anger can be a symptom of something that an issue that you might have. And I didn't hear about that.
But essentially, it's just road rage. Essentially, that's what he got.
Well, you can't say that. If someone went round, people are going, Valdo Calicaine went round stabbing people. Oh, but he's a schizophrenic, so there's the explanation for it. Road rage is not really an explanation because it's caused by something. It could have been fear of those crowds. It could have been terror. It could have been, he could have been suffering from something all these years. And I'm not saying he shouldn't be in prison. I'm not saying that. He should. He frightened a lot of people and hurt some people.
But it is right. You are right. It is strange, I think, and surprising that he's gotten 21 years and spent over 2 decades in jail. Yes. But there's paedophiles who are being told suspended sentence. On you go. Stay away from schools.
There was a migrant who hijacked a boat that was rescuing him that has been given asylum in this country who actually could have tipped over. We've given him asylum, for God's sake. Other countries want him because he hijacked a boat and they want him on terrorism offences. But we give a person like that asylum and we take care of him. And yet this bloke, maybe he deserves to go to jail, but I want to know what caused that. And I haven't seen that anywhere. Anyway, it's just a thought.
You've been guilty of road rage a few times.
I have. Well, it's always everyone else's fault.
What I was going to say, what caused it? Everyone else.
But you see, usually when you have road rage, there's something at the back of it. It's not just the car that day that something's gone wrong. There's something else going on, and that's kind of what I want to know, because he was ostensibly a happy family man, living his best life with his sons and his wife, and it just seems bizarre that he would just lose control in that way.
A solicitor has been branded tone deaf after sharing images of her council estates-themed dinner on social media, showing a spread of chicken dippers, potato waffles, crispy pancakes, smiley faces, baked beans, frayed bentos pies, spam fritters, and even oven chips. Yum. The lawyer wrote, "I love cooking for my friends. The theme of tonight's meal was council estate dinner." Sophie Murgatroyd also gave her guests a dessert of Viennetta ice cream, spotted dick with custard and ginger cake. Delicious. Washed down with Sunny D.
There's nothing. Well, the Sunny D.
And Brooks Fizz.
No, the Sunny D, no.
Oh, delicious.
But everything else I like on that list. I mean, have you ever had a spam fritter? I bet you haven't.
A spam fritter? No. I've had spam. But I prefer corned beef.
But frittered, fried. When I was a kid, that's what we got because it was cheap.
Right.
And it was filling, so we'd have them. And we also used to have free bentos pies a lot. And Viennetta was a big treat.
That was posh to us, yeah.
Big treat on a Sunday,
yeah.
that. You either got that or you got a tin of fruit cocktail with evaporated milk. That was the other big treat. But I mean, this girl, she's a bit of an idiot. She's called Sophie Murgatroyd, and she's a lawyer. And she obviously thought she was being terribly smart and clever and trying to take the mick out of people who live on council estates. But I'll guarantee all her friends would have loved that food. I can guarantee it, especially the spotted dick. God,
oi.
I love spotted dick.
Oi, Carole, control yourself.
Don't you get smutty. I'm talking about spotted dick, the dessert with custard. That's what I'm talking about. I don't know what you're talking about.
The thing is, like as we say all the time, you and I were born and raised on council estates. I am not in any way offended by this woman doing this.
I'm not offended, but I suppose what I think about it, I think she's a bit of a twit, because I know what her reasons for doing it are, for calling it that, which makes her a bit of an idiot, frankly. However, I'm not offended because, as I say, people like her, don't offend me. I just think sharp. But she obviously thought she was being very clever. I will bet if she's on social media, she is getting destroyed currently on social media.
I'm sure she is.
She's from Knutsford. Do you know Knutsford?
A posh part outside Manchester, right? Cheshire way.
Cheshire. It's kind of the footballers.
Yeah.
Oh, Knutsford. Very, very posh.
Lovely.
Very lovely.
Green.
And she obviously thought she was being terribly cool by taking the mick out of people poorer than her. But I suspect she will have been having the mickey taken out of her big time.
My father-in-law, Joe Franick, loved spam so much that at his funeral they gave out cans of spam at the wake. Yeah.
Do you know, it's funny, my husband, who's from former Yugoslavia, is from Bosnia, had never had spam before he came here. Really? And he said, well, I'm never going to try that. I went, I love that. And he just buys a tin of it and cuts it in chunks sometimes and just eats it. Not as a dinner, but he actually likes the taste of it.
Yeah.
And this man, his body is a temple. I mean, he works out all that. He doesn't eat rubbish, but he just loves a bit of spam. And I get it.
Your husband?
Yes.
So he's body's a temple.
Yes.
Keeps himself very fit.
Yes.
It must be annoying for him living with you, and
It
all
is.
you eat is crisps and
Crisps
and wine. That's your diet.
He has lovely. Well, it's not lovely to me. He has gorgeous food every night. Lentils, whatever.
Makes it himself.
Makes it all himself.
Where
and
are
he,
you?
And he goes, "Do you want some?" I go, "No," and I go. Come on and get a bag of pop chips and some Marmite cashews. That's what I get, and that's what I have. Last night, I said to him, I need to eat something that's half decent. So I had half an avocado and a tomato, which was actually good. I liked that.
Well done. Well
It was
done,
good.
you. Well
and
done,
then I
you.
had some pop chips after that.
It's Christmas soon. Carole, what are you doing for food?
I'll eat it. I eat everything,
I can
love
see.
We're having the Christmas dinner. Hello, don't you talk, matey. If we're doing body BMIs, hello. You're the one who's got the problem, not me. I'm having the full Christmas dinner, are you?
Yeah, absolutely.
The lot?
Turkey.
Yes.
I have some lamb the night before.
Ham.
Yeah.
Lamb? Do you have lamb?
The night before, Christmas Eve, yeah.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you going to cook it, though? You're going to make your husband cook it?
We're going to two friends across the road, which is lovely. They do Christmas Day and then we do New Year's Eve. So she's
that's
doing
nice.
all of that, which is fantastic. But I can never do the Christmas pudding, can you? I can never get to it.
I don't like Christmas pudding.
I don't
for
like
me.
it, but if I've got nothing else in me, I'll have some. But when I've had a massive little starters, a massive dinner, I can't do Christmas pudding.
Nah, forget about it.
Do you have
Forget
cheese
about
with your Christmas cake?
What?
No, my friend.
Cheese with my Christmas cake?
My friend who's from Yorkshire, who's doing the dinner, she got me onto this for years. So you get a bit of cheddar cheese with a bit of Christmas cake together. Oh, it's fabulous. It's fabulous.
You are vile.
No, it's fabulous.
You are disgusting.
No, you don't mean that. You mean the food is vile. I'm not vile. That's what but actually, it is not vile. It is gorgeous.
Well, let us know in the comments if that's the kind of thing
You've just
you want to
offended
stuff in your
everyone
face.
in Yorkshire, by the way.
Carole, honestly, an absolute pleasure to be reunited
Merry
with you.
Christmas,
Merry
my
Christmas,
love.
my dear. Thank you for watching. That is all we have time for. A very Merry Christmas to all of you. Watch out for our specials. We've got quite a few of them coming out over the festive period. But for now, bye-bye from the Daily Expresso. Bye-bye.